But pets are such a huge part of so many of our lives that we want to take them places and have people spend time with them in our homes. But bad behavior can prevent those things from happening. Melissa Mollet is here with ideas on improving your dog's bad manners.
Barking, biting, and chewing are some common complaints by dog owners. The Director of Behavior and Training, Alexandra Dilley from the Humane Rescue Alliance, is here to help us improve our dog's manners. Now, my guy is 11, and I think he could use a little, maybe a little recap, should we say, of some manners for sure. Now, talk about what is the biggest complaint from people about dogs and their manners and the things they really want to fix, even sort of retroactively when the dog's older.
Yeah, so one thing we get a lot is that the dog is jumping up on people. Yes. And a lot of times that is just a social greeting from the dog. They like to lick faces, and since people stand up straight, they have to jump in order to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's a really actually good thing that your dog likes people, but what we can do to help that is just to make sure that they don't get rewarded when they do it, right? Okay. So, but that's one thing that we get a lot. And then another thing is loose leash walking. The dog likes to pull when they're on leash, and so those are probably the biggest two things we get.
And I'm very remiss here in not introducing Maxwell, of course. I just met him, so it's easy for me to just kind of move on, but he is just adorable. Tell me a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Maxwell was taken in the area by an animal control officer at our organization, and when he came in, he was kind of uncomfortable with some things we did at the shelter, like handling him. So I took him home and I worked with him for about 3 weeks and got him much more comfortable with those sorts of things and introduced him to things he needed to be comfortable around, like children, you know, lots of movement, people walking on the street, other dogs. And he's doing really well now, so he's available for adoption.
And I just love his ears. His ears are so cute. Give him a little bit of an attitude there.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's cute. What are some basics that people need to know, you know, when they're getting a puppy and when they're sort of starting this training? You have this treat pouch, which I wore with my dog, and the reward only when it's something good. You can't, you know, help or reward that behavior, like you said, doing something negative like jumping.
That's right. And when we have training challenges, what we want to do is figure out what we can reward. So we teach the dog what we want them to do, and we make sure that they're successful. We make sure we reward them as quickly as possible, and then we make it much harder for them to do the behaviors we don't want them to do, right? Okay. So if you jump, somebody's going to walk away or you're going to get a timeout. If you sit, oh my goodness, what a good dog, you're going to get a treat, and the person's going to greet you.
And they just kind of start to understand
exactly
what's going on. Now, we had some viewer questions for you. Most of them, a lot of them I should say, about barking. So one was about excessive barking and one on-demand barking. I've never heard of the on-demand barking. So do people do that if you hear somebody at the door, you're trying to shoo somebody away? What is the purpose?
It's actually called demand barking.
Demand barking.
I like on-demand barking.
Kind of like the TV.
Yeah, exactly. And it's basically the dog barking at you when they want something.
Oh,
so they want attention, they want their food, they want to go out the door.
Okay.
So what you need to do is teach them that that's not what's going to get them what they want, right? That's going to get them, again, that's going to get them a timeout, or that's going to get you walking out of the room. But if they're quiet and they sit, then you'll do what they want you to do.
Gotcha.
Right.
What about excessive barking? Because we had some old neighbors in a different state that had this dog that's and I thought, oh my gosh, something has to be done.
Yes. So a lot of times that's boredom, right?
Okay.
We need to give our dogs more things to do, and there's a lot of enrichment toys out there that you can purchase for your dog so that they don't just eat all their food out of a bowl. Making sure they get walks every day is really important, and giving them as many sorts of outlets to go sniff new things, see new things, hear new sights and sounds. That's all stuff that's really going to help them bark less. And a lot of times it's just because, you know, dogs are used to foraging for 8 hours a day, and we leave them at home for 8 hours a day. So
they need a little something more.
They need more.
And then talking about the jumping thing, because my dog sometimes does that when people first come in, and then he doesn't really care anymore.
Yeah.
Does turning the back also help? I mean, walking away, turning back?
I would say have either you walk the dog away or the dog gets walked away from the person.
Okay. Got
Right?
it.
Or the person walks away. I wouldn't just turn your back.
Okay.
Because it's not clear enough to the dog.
What's happening?
Yeah.
What about if we want to teach our dog just basic manners? What's the best way to do that, or where can we learn to do that?
There's a lot of good training schools in the area, and the Humane Rescue Alliance has our own training school.
Right.
And you would want to start with a basic manners class. That's
sit,
going to
the
teach
stay.
your dog like the basic life skills that he needs to do well in the home.
Well, Maxwell, I'm sure you'll do very well in whatever home you end up in. Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. Really nice to have you. Now, of course, NBC4 is proud to help clear the shelters every year. This year's event will be August 19th. If you're interested in adopting a pet, we have resources on the NBC Washington app. And, of course, Maxwell and his sweet little face and his hilarious little ears available right now through the Humane Rescue Alliance. Alexandra, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, sweet guy. Remember